Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sounder podcast created out of the Sounder of Lady Hoggers. I am Molly, as always, of the Copper Penny Farm, and as I am always with my friends, say hello, friends.
Hey y'all. Yeah. Hey, I am Laura Jensen. The Pig Nerd is probably the easiest place to look up all the different irons I have in the fire. We always take a minute and talk about what's going on. September, 7 events in September. One of those being a genetics mission with one of our bloodlines within the Mason Registry. My friend Tracy and I went up to Kentucky and took one of the last 100% USDA boars to meet another member from Indiana that has 100% USDA sow to hopefully make some babies. There was some excitement with offloading the trailer. Tracy did learn how to be a wall really quick, thank goodness. And a moment of that scream, the all stop, full stop, everybody come help me, so that Guy Pan didn't walk off the trailer in the middle of a parking lot on the side of a highway in Kentucky. But I suspect you ladies can relate to that too, as far as those moments with livestock. Business wise, the farm store is doing great. I'm learning a lot about ads and advertising and driving sales. And personally, I'm just really tired.
Oh, Trey, you've had so much going on.
Yeah, we had a master class. I had COVID on the end of the master class. And so September is always the best weather here. So that's why we always push into September for all the events we can take. But I got to tell y'all, I'm looking at it from a personal side of it, and was it too much? And how do I take care of me? Because I definitely lost me in the middle of all that, as far as self care and all that. But anyhow, that's a story for another day. But that's the brief recap of what's happening here in Loganville. How about you, Amanda?
Well, I'm Amanda Buck with Buck Family Ranch, and we are making some progress. Let's see, with our farm, we were able to go ahead and get the corrals started this past weekend. We got almost all of our wood posts in, and for that, we are using reclaimed railroad ties. So they are big, they are heavy, and
Yeah.
they're like 2.5 to 3 feet deep.
Whew.
So definitely labor intensive. It's not a big, huge corral, but it's still enough that we definitely felt it the next day and the day after that.
I seen you with that post hole digger.
Yes, using that dumb auger. That thing, it's awesome. It's really great to be able to use that, but I do not have the upper body strength to be able to push it down the way Kellen can. And
Dude,
but I tried.
My place is so rocky, like so rocky. And it will rip your fucking arms off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, our soil is very sandy. So we have a lot of sand, and there is a little bit of clay mixed in too, but it's mostly sand. So it's really not hard. The issue is that because it's sandy, I mean, imagine trying to dig in a sandhill with one of those. Like it's just challenging because the soil doesn't move the way normal soil moves.
Yeah. What do you do? Like you said, you went 3 foot deep, and then you concrete them in. Is that part of what it is?
We just tamp. So we just put them in and tamp them
Ah,
in. Um, because we have sand mixed with clay, when you tamp it, it like after we get a rain or the snow melts and it soaks in, it's like concrete setting.
oh, good. Good.
Yeah. So we got most of those put in. Um, I ran to our feed store yesterday, Cal Ranch, to go get fencing, like field fence, because that's what we're going to use in our corrals. And while there, our children talked me into chicks. So,
Oh my God. Did you eat more penis snacks?
no more penis snacks. No more of those. But so we managed to come home with several new chicks. I'm so thankful that we built a brooder in our coop when we built our coop. So they could just go straight into the brooder and they're all good. Everybody's happy. Kellen did not have a cow, so life is good. Life is good there. But yeah, and then on the house front, just really quick, we more or less lost our general contractor.
Oh.
Yeah. So, but it's
Mm.
gonna be okay. I think Kellen is gonna work on getting his GC, and we are just going
Raleigh.
to do 100% ourselves. So it's all gonna work out.
It is.
There's several banks in our area that will do owner builds, and as long as he has his GC, then it's all going to work out. So that is what we're going to do. It's kind of taking some steps back because we're like starting the process all over again, and we're doing it right on the verge of winter. So that's kind of a little bit crazy, but it's all going to work out, and we're just trying to stay upbeat and positive and kind of crank through some things so that we can get started sooner rather than later.
I think that's
So
a great fit for your situation. I think it's really the smart play.
yeah, and I mean, we had been planning to build a lot of it ourselves anyways, and the GC that we had before was okay with that. But I think really what it boiled down to was that because of how much we wanted to take on, it was going to create a lot of administrative work for his wife who runs the
Mm.
business with him. And so really for us, I think it'll work out better because with the financing that we do have to take out, it allows us to do the draws and stuff like that instead of going through a middleman. And I don't know. I think overall it's going to work to our advantage, and it will all be fine. So
Hmm. Hmm.
Oh yeah,
taking more,
it'll all work out.
it will.
Hmm.
What about you, Molly? What have you got going on?
Well, I got a little bit of everything going on. And one of the big things that is happening is my friend Marilyn came down to visit me from Wisconsin.
Aha.
Yeah, so me and Marilyn have been friends for what, like 2 years, Marilyn? Yeah, for almost 2 years. Never met each other in person, right? Just talking on the phone, whatever. And her friend had a boar that needed to be delivered to Virginia. And she called me and she's like, I'm delivering a boar to Virginia and then I'm coming to your house. And I said,
Nice.
okay. No choice. No, yeah, she gave me no choice. And I said, well, just be prepared because it is quite the fucking circus out here. But but no, it's been really good to meet Marilyn. And it's like we've it's like when you go on a first date and everything is like awkward or whatever. And then
Hmm.
sometimes you go on a date and it's like you've known each other forever,
Hmm.
So that's how it was. That's how it was. We've known each other forever, so it's good times. So that's
Good.
good. We got Marilyn out in the Wild Yonder circus, and I'll be on 107.1 PSK on October the 11th.
Congrats.
Yes. So I'll be co-hosting on the radio. I've got to learn to control my mouth.
No, that's what'll make you good at it. Don't do that.
Oh God! Then I was like, I don't even need a microphone because I'm pretty. I think
No,
I'm loud enough. I have to think about my volume.
no.
But no, it's going good. I got a bunch of events coming up for my books, and both my books went #1, and I'm working on my third one.
That's
So
great.
just a lot of things in the neighborhood, man.
Yeah. Hey, can I give myself a shout out speaking about your radio thing? I am gonna be on the FACT webinar. I'll put it on my social media and email list. I'm doing a value added presentation this Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'd love for y'all to join us or anybody listening join us. I've got some great things to talk about and how to maximize your carcass value. So
Oh, that's
there.
fantastic.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Y'all are.
What?
I said y'all are kicking butt. You're doing so good on your things.
Well, you're finally going to get your house built. That's more than what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, and you're raising little people. You got to keep that in mind too. Mine are grown. So yeah, that's a huge undertaking in itself.
Yeah, I'm not raising no little humans. I can barely raise myself. So, anyways, all right. So y'all ready to get into it? Y'all ready
Let's do
to
it.
talk about it? All right. So for the past 2 episodes, we've made it, into parts, into who made who. And so we're talking about who owns our food, where our food is actually coming from, what's going on with that, how that impacts us. And so we're going to bring that all together today. And we're going to end, in this 3-part session on who made who. So to start us off, we're going to go off of a quote, which I think is very important and sort of summarizes everything. Laura, if you can read that off, and
Absolutely.
let's get started.
Okay, so this is from the article that we've been working from, revealed the true extent of America's food monopolies and who pays the price. This was from July of 21, and just 3 segments in it that I think really set the tone for our conversation today. The first excerpt says that this matters because the size and influence of these mega companies. Hang on, that's my second one. So sorry, y'all. Number 1, in fact, a few powerful transnational companies dominate every link of the food supply chain. How about that? Every link of the food supply chain, from seeds and fertilizers to slaughterhouses and supermarkets to cereals and beers. It goes on to say that this matters because the size and influence of these mega companies enables them to largely dictate what America's 2 million farmers grow, how much they're paid to grow it, as well as what consumers eat and how much our groceries cost. And one final excerpt that I want to share is from Amanda Starbuck, policy analyst at Food and Water Watch, also within this article, states that it's a system designed to funnel money into the hands of corporate shareholders and executives while exploiting farmers and workers and deceiving consumers about choice, abundance, and efficiency. So there you go.
It's a big statement, but it really brings it all together. A lot of people, we going out to the store and you're buying these things and you're not up to date on where they come from, who owns them, who made them, what it took to get them on the shelves, really what it took to get them on the shelves. They're not the ones actually getting the money.
Yeah, it's there's so many aspects to this, from as far as an artisan foods provider. It really points out the battle that I have if I want to work towards grocery store shelves. And I'm all about growth, so it's interesting to know what I'm up against. It also means that they're really good at what they do, to be as successful as they are, and there's a lot to learn there. And then as farmers and a producer, I feel a little lost, honestly, when you look at how big this thing is, and here I am, with an unheard breed of pigs out here trying to make a difference. I'm not sure what's next some days.
Well, yeah, I mean, we don't. The statement is true. It makes money, or it takes money to make money. And when we are just small, our little 10, 20 herd, even at 20, you're not really making an impact.
No, and I love marketing. There's no secret there, and I'm complimented on it a lot. And I often feel when I receive those compliments that I still have so much to learn. But as a consumer, I think the big eye opener for me, after understanding how to run a retail store, is that a lot of ads and a lot of sales and a lot of advertisements really aren't about helping the consumer. It's about maximizing profits and maybe situations, be it you're long on stock on something, or you could do a special buy, or you want to increase market share. There's just a lot more behind the scenes to these happy little brands that we all see these fun commercials on, that makes it happen.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I feel like it's also important. We were kind of talking before we started recording to point out that making money is not a bad thing. Like we all have to make money to survive, to a certain extent. And so I think that really the point in bringing this up, or one of the main points in bringing this up, is to create awareness of how this kind of all works, this funnel system, how it works. But then also just to empower people in their choice for where they choose to spend their money. You can either continue to support the system, or you can gradually work yourself away from supporting that system by supporting small farmers or growing more of your own food, or this or that. So I feel like it's important just to point that out. Like, we're not against people making money,
No, not
No,
at all. We're pro money.
but
we're
make
not against we're not against people making money, but we
No.
want Americans to make money.
Yes. Well, and I think also not just Americans, but also I would rather see more of the money that I choose to spend on food go to those who are producing the food and making sure that it is healthy, and things like that. I would rather see more of my dollar go to them, because that's more of a priority to me, versus more of my dollar going to these big corporations just because they're good at marketing and branding, which is very important. I mean, I feel like that's one of the things that we talk about all the time for small farmers. Marketing and branding is super important, but I'd rather support the small farmer who's marketing and branding and doing those things than these mega corporations.
Yeah, and for me to put another hat on as a consumer, as a mom, as somebody that likes to eat every day, COVID is not that far in the rearview mirror when the food supply was shook, when it was tested, when it cracked, and when it broke. And that's a concern for me, just as a human that eats, that a lot of these big brands are so tightly controlled. In the world of what if, I mean, this is what Americans are dependent on to eat. So that's scary to me, that if this big system breaks, how do we eat? And I think we all know the answer to that, to put on the other hat, but that's something that really jumps out at me here.
Yeah.
Well, also with the influx of all the new stuff going on, the fake meat, the mRNAs, all of this stuff, it's backed by money of big corporations. So when these corporations are having control of basically what everybody is, being able to buy easily, the convenience foods, we have no control on what they are doing to the food.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, when you're talking about these big corporations and they're part of this, Cargill is a huge meat packer. It's one of the top 4. They also are a huge investor in meatless meat. So like, what? That seems so backwards, but it's because that's where the money is. They're chasing the money. So yeah, I mean, it's exactly, Molly.
Yeah. Well, you look at it, they are in the top of the biggest packers, but at the same time, what they're doing, it is harder and harder for other people to get meat and stuff to them for the packing, right? So they, like you said, they're chasing the money. The next biggest thing is the meatless stuff. And so of course that's what they're going to go to.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think these mega corporations, being what they are with the foods and things that they're providing, if they can hop on trends, just like we like to do that too. But I think that if they can hop on trends and they have the money to really like dive into it and invest in it, that's what you're going to see more of on the shelves because of their marketing and things like that. So I think that really with these corporations and stuff, when we were talking as we just started recording, how they dictate what gets grown, how much it gets bought for, and then to consumers they also dictate what's put on the shelves and how you're going to spend your money. And it really is crazy when you think about it like that, because everything that we're saying, it's totally in line with that statement. Like the things that farmers are growing and what they're having to sell it for is being dictated by these companies, but also just like we were talking about the meatless meats and stuff like that. And that goes back to previous podcasts too. Some of the things that we have touched on, these companies can put their money into that. It kind of shuts down the farmer to where it's like, yeah, you know what? We're tired of paying you guys. So we're just going to go ahead and do this over here. And we have the money that we can advertise, we can brand it, we can put it in consumers' faces, and they're gonna buy it because we have control over that. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I feel like it's kind of, as a consumer, you need to make those choices, and as a small farmer, we need to figure out how are we gonna maneuver through all of this and kind of um make the most of this opportunity, because I feel like it is an opportunity if we view it in that way.
Yeah, I agree. You know, there's a sadness that comes with all this for me in the reality of what it's like to be a farmer. You know, I mean, we've talked before in terms of marketing and farming and why everybody gets into it, but to learn and see the facts that America's farmers, um, they're kind of screwed. You know, I mean, if you're producing for these big things, everything's dictated to you. And if you're a small producer, it's really, really tough to compete on that level. So I find part of it that just leaves me with a sadness in terms of the the battles that we as farmers face, regardless of what we choose to raise. And I didn't really expect that as we started down this road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta look, we've said it multiple times. It is all control. I
Hmm.
Yeah.
mean, it's literally all control, because at the end of the day, cargo going towards the meatless, products and
Hmm.
stuff and all that. Well, we as normal farmers, we are not that literally cuts us out, because we don't have the money nor the knowledge nor the way to produce those things.
For the capacity, largely, I mean, I can't imagine a point that, Cisco and those large food distribution centers. I mean, what kind of volume are they running? Those places that are supporting those houses that are the processing, 30,000 hogs a day. I mean, that's unfathomable to me, and what that takes all the way through the system.
Oh yeah. It's just, but it's all of this is connected. And like you said, Laura, I mean, it is sad. It's like we're between a rock and a hard place at this point, because you have such big dreams, and we got the knowledge, we know what's going on, and we're trying to get our product, the best product that we can produce out there. But at the end of the day, it's hard to do that.
Hmm.
We're getting backlash on both sides.
Hmm.
How do we compete with the universe when we're just a speck?
Right, right. I had a friend come out this past weekend who was telling me about someone she knew that had shopped at my farm store and made the comment to her about, well, they're not the same price as Kroger. And, I just don't know if I can do that. And I was like, wow, is this the same person that then turns around and says, where'd all the farm stores go?
Yeah, but okay, here's my thing though. It goes back to the money portion of it, and
Hmm.
the hierarchy. The food chain of how it goes. You can go to Kroger, Food Line, whatever is around you, Walmart, Costco. You can go and buy these products cheap, right? Okay,
Sure.
they're cheaper dollar.
Hmm.
But how much it's already cheap. So how much do you think that the farmers or the people that produce that are actually going to get out of that? They're getting
Oh, no.
zilcho.
Right. That's that race to the bottom line ag. And I can't support that.
No.
We work in the top quality things that are, a grade above what most restaurants are able to use. And that's a conversation for another day, that the average consumer thinks that choice and prime are all there is, and that's not it. There's different grades of meat from packer to above, and then small processors that can't do that. So I'd love to have that conversation to educate folks as well. But ultimately, I think it comes down to what we always talk about is, if you listening as a consumer want to make sure there's a choice, or you want to make sure that that farm store in your community is there when you need them, be it, to feed your family today, or in the future, should another COVID hit, you get to vote with your wallet. At the end of the
Yeah.
day, you get to make a choice.
Well,
Yeah.
and it's all about choices.
Hmm.
Making that choice. Where are you putting your money? Are you
Hmm.
putting it back into your community? Are you putting
Hmm.
it back into your country? Like, are
Hmm.
you doing that? Or are you chasing convenience and cheap prices that are doing nothing but keeping the low man on the pole?
And in my humble opinion, keeping you sick. That would be the other part of that.
That,
All the additives and all the crazy stuff in there. I hear all the time people feel better when they buy from me. Physically feel better from the foods they buy from me.
yeah. Well, and I think this is a challenging time. We've talked about inflation before, and I feel like as a family of five, a year ago, I was able to spend $200, and that I would spend $400 a month on food. That also included um, like toiletries, laundry detergent, those kinds of things. So $400 a month for food and keeping my household running. And now we live in a camper, and so we have way smaller space, not nearly as much to keep up with, keep clean. Um, and the amount of money that we spend even just on food is almost double that a month. And
Wow.
Yeah.
it's a struggle. It's not quite, I have really like pulled the reins tight on things to like try to get that number down. And I am working on it. I'm getting there. But what it has taken, because we right now this year have not been able to grow very much of our food. Like last year, we were raising our own chicken, we were raising our own pork, we were buying beef from my brother. So it was like we had our main meats that we would eat in stock in our freezer. And occasionally I would buy other things from the store, but very rarely. Now we're having to, I've not found local farmers I can buy things from just yet, but in addition to that, I don't have freezer space, so we're having to shop convenience. And it's crazy to me how expensive it truly is to shop conveniently.
Yep.
It's not cheaper to shop that way.
Hmm.
It may be cheaper spread out, but it is not cheaper in the long run.
Hmm.
So, people think like, oh, well, I'm going to do this because it's less expensive because they don't have Kroger prices. Really, at the end of the day, if you look at what you spent for the year as a whole, you would find you spend a lot more going to Kroger because you are paying for convenience. You're going to be making impulse buys. You're not like when you buy things directly from a farmer, um, you're getting your stuff, you're going to build your pantry, you're going to create recipes, you're going to do shopping based on, okay, what can I make with what I have? Like if I have a whole chicken, I'm going to choose to make recipes where I can use the chicken, cook the chicken, we can have a meal off that. Then I can cook, like make broth out of the chicken, we can have another meal with that. And then, so on and so forth. You can boil the bones again, make more broth. So it's like you use that multiple times for multiple meals. And I feel like you can spend that money once and it's a larger amount maybe, but you're going to get more out of it. I kind of lost
Yeah.
my train. Basically, what I'm saying is that it has been a struggle right now with inflation to even shop conveniently. So if it's a struggle, if you are spending outrageous amounts of money buying the cheap stuff and it's still making you not feel good, it's not lasting very long, you're going through it quickly, why not just consider shopping with a farmer? Even if you're not buying everything from a farmer, switch to buying a product from a farmer and gradually like make that transition and see how it affects your family's budget and your family's health. And I think
Yeah.
that people would really be open to that.
Yeah. Well, and we offer bulk buys. Our two top selling bulk buys are 5 pounds of chicken breast and a 10-pound chub of ground beef. And I
Yeah.
mean, the opportunities are endless with that. And our price is more than competitive with anything out there in the market. But there is a perception that at the end of the day, we're higher, and maybe we are on some things, but not on quality when you compare
But
apples to apples.
well, but at the same time, you are more budget aware, right?
Hmm.
When you don't have a huge selection and you know that you can't get this, and this, right? So you're
Hmm.
more budget aware. So it does, like you said, Amanda, you can go to the store. I mean, if I go to the store, I go in there for two things, I come out with 25
Exactly.
because I see something, I'm like, I needed that. I didn't need that.
Yeah, you
You know,
impulse.
yeah, you impulse buy. So, and I think that honestly, you bringing that up is a good point because I don't think people realize that what they are spending on a whole hog or a whole beef, is in the long run way cheaper than what they're going out every week and buying.
Yeah, or
Mhm.
multiple times a week.
Yeah. And you're doing nothing by going and doing this and buying all this. You're doing nothing but fattening the already fat pockets.
Mhm.
Well,
Well,
yeah,
and you go ahead.
I was gonna say, and voting with that and saying you're okay with them using, you know, all these things that are literally making people sick. I mean, if you are okay with, I don't know, that is like a total rabbit hole that I could go down.
Mhm.
Like,
Same.
you got seed oils, you got this, you got this, you got this, you got this.
Yep.
And they're in all of these products, food dyes, like just so many things that do nothing but make people sick because our bodies don't know how to process them.
Mhm.
But it's cheap and it's convenient. And I don't know, it's just, ugh, it's so
Yeah,
bad.
yeah. So many different episodes ahead, right? Of all the
Yes,
things that
yes,
we get to talk about.
yes. I felt
Yeah.
like with this episode, my thoughts have been kind of jumbled because I'm like, well, there's like still so many things that we could talk about.
Yes.
It doesn't relate to what we're trying to drive home, which is that these mega corporations, they really do have a monopoly over our food supply. And as we are spending our dollars at the grocery store, we are continuing to support that. And so I think our main point in this is just to drive home that we need to be able to find ways to support small regenerative agriculture and farmers. And
Mhm.
um that's another thing. I say regenerative agriculture because I feel like these big commercial systems cannot keep going at the rate that they are and be successful.
No.
So find a
No.
small regenerative farmer that you can support or become one.
Yeah.
Join
Yeah,
our
there's that. Yeah.
Well, it goes, like in the title, Who Made Who? I mean, we started in the beginnings, it was a community of people working together,
yeah,
bartering and helping each other, you know. And then somebody comes along with money and they have an idea and they buy that, and that cuts back on, what we do. And now, if we are controlled by all of this, if the fallout happens, well, the rest of the farmers have almost lost everything.
Yeah.
So what do we have in the end? If you're not going to support us, what do we have in the end? What are you going to eat?
Yeah. Well, and it's, to step back and look at this from a more generalized perspective, essentially, these are empires. They're food empires, but at the end of the day, they're empires. And it doesn't really matter what you look at historically, there's always a rise and fall to empires.
Yep.
And not that I'm wishing doom and gloom on them. I'm not saying that at all. But it's just historically things don't last forever. So what's next? What's coming next? And that's where I think the hope that it gives me is that we as consumers get to vote with our dollar, and that I truly think that the three of us are making a difference in helping our community understand the reality of what's out there and how they can make a difference too.
Oh yeah, yeah. And it's just making choices. We do need larger larger courts. We do need those. We can't
Yes.
produce everything ourselves. And there's things that we can't make ourselves.
Mm-mm.
We need those. But we need to find the balance to where we can, live and thrive if something was to happen.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. And I think sometimes as we've talked about this and just learned more and more about it, I sit here and I ask myself, like, how did we even get here? How did this happen? And I think really what it is that we have so many things in our daily lives that we worry about or that we're doing. And when you have families where both a husband and wife are working, and then you have children in school and this and that. And there's not a whole lot of time at the end of the day to really think about what do we need to be doing differently. It's just stop by the
Mhm,
store, get what we need, get home, make
mhm.
dinner, homework, put them to bed, and then we get a few minutes to look at reels and go to sleep. It's just like,
Yeah, yeah.
and so I feel like really that's kind of how we've gotten here, is that people are doing what they need to do to kind of manage their families and get by, and they don't have a whole lot left in their cup to think about these other things.
Yeah.
And
I
so
agree.
I think that's how we've gotten here. But I think that our voices can kind of help educate and bring awareness to the situation, and let people know it may not be as convenient, but there are so many ways to support small farms. I mean, there's all spring, summer, and fall long, you can find farmers markets. There
Mhm,
are co-ops. There are so many things that you can do to support small farms, even through fall and winter. If you're not buying food from farmers, there's other things that you can buy. Like you can buy pumpkins and mums from small farmers. You can buy Christmas trees. You can buy, I mean, there's things that you can do to support small farmers, even if you're not buying food items. And so I feel like all around, it's just making those subtle changes and just thinking about things that you can do that can still work within your budget, but make a difference. And I hope that that's kind of, as people are listening, I hope that's what they're getting from this, is that, you know, there is a monopoly, there is an empire, there is all these things going on. And it's just kind of happened over time because we've allowed it to, because we've got so much in our daily lives. I don't know that it's not intentional negligence. It's just
yeah,
happened. So
mhm.
at this point, it's what do we do to rectify, to create more balance, so that not so much of our food supply is in the hands of these mega corporations.
Yeah.
Mhm,
Well, and bringing it back to, our own country, that we can have jobs and people can get somewhat of a pay. When you
Yeah,
look at it, people growing chickens, produce, pork, whatever, and shipping them out to these larger corps. I mean, at the end of the day, when things go wrong, right? That's on you. The corp isn't taking the fall for that.
mhm.
yeah,
They're coming out with no money, but at the end of the day, what other option do we have but to try to get our stuff into the people who have the money?
yeah,
Well, I'm a rebel like that. So I would
Yes,
say, create your own path, create your own retail
yes,
store, create your own gravity. And it's not for everybody. Some days I've questioned
no,
my own sanity.
yeah, no,
But that's
no,
what
it's
I
not.
do. When I see something I don't like, let's do something else. Let's
Yes,
go.
and that's the thing is what we're trying, to tell people is like, we're not. It's not that we can't just go out and shut down the large corps and we produce. No, no, no.
yeah,
And
That's
we
not
don't
what.
want to. That's not what we're promoting in any way. It's just
no,
No,
awareness.
no, that's not what, but we're promoting awareness on what your intake is, where your
Mhm,
dollar is going, how what is going on in this country with our food system, that everybody needs food to survive. What's
mhm.
yeah,
being put in that, and what it's taking to establish those products, but we're trying to bring awareness to that so that you do understand now when you go to the grocery store what you're buying and where it's going and what it's doing to your body.
yeah,
Agree.
yeah, yeah. And to piggyback on that too, you kind of touched on, I feel like the like exports and stuff like that. We're raising all this food and we're exporting it to other countries. Meanwhile, there's still so many Americans that are hungry. And
Yes.
that to me is like mind-boggling, because
But
it,
but on a
we-
but on a but on another scale also, Amanda, we are growing it, shipping it to have it shipped back.
yeah, yeah. And so I don't know. It's just like there's so many things I feel like within our food system that are just kind of broken. And so just trying to figure out, I mean, I don't know. It's not one of those things that can just be fixed overnight.
No,
So
that's another podcast. I'd love to research that more. Like we know that poultry supposedly is processed overseas, and how does that work? That
yeah,
seems
Yeah.
weird. How do you do that? So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
It's, there's a lot of things. Like if people, we're still buying Smithfield, right? But
Mhm.
Smithfield has closed so many things. Okay, it's been shipped over, but it has to come back here to be put on our shelves. We're still buying it. You know,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's a lot of backward system that we really we need to understand, like we've been talking, where is our dollar, how is our dollar making an impact, and how can we as citizens with our dollar make an impact ourselves.
Mhm.
and also, why is it so dang hard to be able to clearly see who who is getting your dollar? So I feel like when you start researching this stuff, it's like it's really difficult to get clear answers on who owns what, or like at the end of the day, where is your dollar actually going? It's like so blurred. You can't
Mhm.
really tell
but
where
but
your
it's
money is going.
yeah, but it's created. That's how the machine was made.
Yes. But that's
you know
oh, that's one more reason to support your small regenerative farmer because
That's
then you know
right.
yeah,
where
Because
you're
yeah,
going.
when you're shopping here, you're supporting 9 local families.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And why, like Amanda said, why is it so hard to conceive that?
Well, I think we all know.
Yeah, well,
Let me break out my tinfoil.
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah,
That's right.
yeah. No, but I think doing this, and summing this up, I got a message actually last night. Somebody sent a message, and she was like, "Y'all are hitting the shit right on the head."
Hmm.
It's making me. She said that when she goes to the grocery store, she's now looking at things that she would have never looked at before.
Hmm.
She's
Good.
seen it from a whole different perspective. And that's what we want out of this. We want
Hmm.
people to understand, what impact that you can make, not for us as farmers, our benefit, but actually for your own family and your own health benefit.
Right. Well, in your own community. I mean, really,
Yes,
it's all tied together. We've gotten to be such a global economy, but we don't really need to forget who's in our backyard.
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly.
That like I feel like that is one of the truest statements because I feel like there's so many people that live in a way where they don't even know their neighbors anymore.
Yep.
Mhm.
But it's like I know when I grew up, we knew all of our neighbors, not just the ones
Mhm.
on our road, but like the ones that were around the corner and this one and that one. And it's like that is not a thing anymore.
No, no, it's one of my favorite things about the farm stores. I've gotten to know all those people again that I would not have had I not have done this.
Yeah.
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 And I that is a super rewarding thing when you know that you are able to provide for your community. That alone gives you, I mean, I was not alone, but I feel like that gives you the energy at times to keep going when you feel like you're hitting brick walls, like knowing
Hmm.
like community is out there, they're eager to support me. I love my community. I enjoy being able to put names with faces and knowing these people. And I feel like that's a big thing that people have lost. It's not about community and like being a part of a community anymore. It's just existing. And so I feel like one of the things that we have done really well through all of this is we're creating our community and it is spread out, it's far and wide, but at the same time it's still a community and I think that that is so needed in the world that we live in today
Hmm.
is having that community, being a part of a community and creating your own community, whatever it may be. But that's a big one. That's a big one.
Hmm.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So I think it went good, man.
Yeah.
And the feedback that we're getting, it really is showing that we are making an impact, and even a small impact is worth it. You
Yes.
know, because
Absolutely.
that's how things are created and built. You have to have a solid foundation, and
Right.
I think that what we're doing is doing that. people are becoming more aware. Somebody was like, I'm scared shitless about my food now. And I'm like, it's not for you to be scared.
No,
It's
no,
for
no reason to be
it's
scared.
yeah, it's for you just to learn and make better choices.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
Yeah.
So anyway, y'all got anything else to add for today?
No, just thanks to everybody. We're getting great numbers on listens on the podcast, and I'm
Yes.
grateful for every one of y'all. Not just you two ladies, although I am grateful very much so that we've built this community, but for everybody listening, I appreciate you.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. We're being listened in other countries now.
Mhm.
Our plays are consistent now. It's pretty cool to see, but we've been growing. We started out just talking about pigs, and
Yep.
now we're talking about food supply.
Right. Multinational stuff now. So
yes, it is so exciting. And I love it. I'm so glad that we're doing what we're doing, and I just want to keep on going. It's hard to tell what we'll be talking about and where we'll be later on.
well, we'll see where it takes us, just like we got here.
Yeah.
That's right. But before we go, I do want to say congratulations to you, Laura, on your big event. That's fucking fantastic, man.
Thank you. You talking about the taste this weekend, this
Yeah.
past weekend?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Did I mention that in the beginning? I don't
No.
remember. Anyhow, we had a taste of Jensen Reserve here Saturday, and I almost cried on multiple times. My crew was overwhelmed and was almost crying from that. But we probably had about 400 people out on our farm. We opened at 12. We got a little bit behind, and there was a line of about 40 people at 12, and it never stopped until about 2, and then we had people come on until 4. But to see everybody enjoying what I do and how hard we work to produce the best product possible, and then they supported the retail store, and because of that I was able to get caught up on some things from this licensing project that will never come to completion, so we could actually see revenue. So I think to sum it up, my community showed up and showed out for me, and I could cry right now from that. So thank you, Molly.
Yeah, I think it's fucking fantastic. I think, Amanda, I'm so glad that you're on a path now, although it is scary about getting your house built.
Yeah.
I think, there's good things. There are good things to come, and we all go through our trials and errors, and shit happens, and hard times,
Mhm.
bumpy roads. But there will be a day where good things. The light will shine through brighter.
Oh,
That's
for
right.
sure. For sure. Well, for sure.
Yeah. All right. So how about y'all go feed them damn hogs and them churros and them geese and whatever in the hell else Amanda's got out
Chicks.
there.
Yep. All right. Bye, y'all.
All right.
Bye.
See you. Love y'all.
Love you.